Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Raider Maven TV, and welcome back to Mile High Huddle SI. Welcome back to SI All Trojans. I am your host, Kim Becker.
Kim Becker with SI All Trojans live at the LA Memorial Coliseum. We are just half an hour away from kickoff, and both Washington State and USC went through their final round of COVID testing this morning, and all is good to go.
Well, everybody, it is early signing day, and one of the biggest prospects that we have had our eyes on here at SI All Trojans is top-ranked quarterback Jake Garcia, who had been committed to USC for over a year, but on December 3rd took to Twitter to announce that he was decommitting from the Trojans and opening his recruitment back up. None of these candidates have ever held the GM position with these teams, which is pretty common. I mean, normally there aren't a whole lot of GMs just bouncing around team to team, but this is going to be a new challenge for any of these guys. So you hope that they come in with the optimism and the drive and, the motivation of wanting to do whatever they can to make this team better.
Okay, so Rachel Bonetta, the host of Lock It In on Fox Sports, is here, and weird times, obviously, we are all dealing with. So thank you for taking time out of your quarantine life. And tell me, how is it going? The Tom Brady thing has been happening for months. We've been talking about where he might go. I
was so wrong.
I
was so freaking wrong.
All right, gentlemen, I could talk about food all night. I promise you that, but I'm going to ask you one more question. Kim Becker here with SI All Trojans, and joining me is reporter Claudette Montana-Pattison. Claudette, we saw several players on the USC football team declare for the draft over the last couple of weeks. I am here with Hondo Carpenter and John Hendricks from Saints News Network. They are both at Allegiant Stadium. They just saw this game firsthand. Chad, the Denver Broncos are taking on the Kansas City Chiefs this weekend, and while the Kansas City Chiefs are ranked in almost the top 10 in every offensive statistical category, the Denver Broncos are pretty much in the bottom 5. In a hypothetical world, if all three of these quarterbacks do officially commit to USC and end up on the team next year, where do you see that dynamic going? Alrighty, guys. Well, we had some ups and downs in the recruiting game with USC last week. They lost Josh Moore and Jake Garcia to decommitments, but they gained a wide receiver in Kyron Ware-Hudson, who flipped his commitment from Oregon to USC. He was drafted by the Eagles in 2015 and was unfortunately infamous for dropping the ball with the Philadelphia Eagles, but the Raiders picked him up and he has had quite the season, and it looks like he might be signing a 2-year extension for $15 million, which is huge news, obviously a big number there, but also huge news because he was expected to be a free agent this season. And it's not necessarily mean that he isn't a free agent. It just seems that his, this contract is starting early and they're really coming up with these numbers sooner rather than later. And every year when the college football playoff rankings are selected, there's always a little bit of skepticism, and 2020 was no different. A lot of names in the sports media world took to Twitter and other social media outlets to give their opinion on the procedure and how these teams are chosen. And here's what former Ohio State head coach Urban Meyer had to say on Saturday on Fox before the selection was announced.
Head coach Clay Helton did speak after the game to the media, saying that this was an emotional loss for his team. These guys put their heart and soul into the game, and that he was about to go console his team. It was an unfortunate loss for them. They were trying to go 1-0 on the week as they have been going all season, but unfortunately they just could not get the W in the Pac-12 championship game.
There is a light at the end of the tunnel, and it is that flame sitting in Allegiant Stadium. I know that all of us want to be able to see people under.
Kimberly!
You see what I
think you've done this a few times before. What a segue.
Thank you very much. I'm learning. Okay.
All right, everybody, and that is what we like to hear. Jim Mora live from Los Angeles at ESPN. Thank you so much for joining us.
That just better include a welcome drink. I want like Mickey Mouse with a tray of champagne.
I'm Kim Becker. Go Dodgers!
All right, I'm leaving.
The ones that look like socks. I like going to the Tula. I provide